Hello, viewers and listeners, to another episode of Steps to Leap podcast. My name is Rochelle, and this is another exciting episode because it's a family of mine that I'm so proud of, and I'm so happy to be interviewing him. So sit back or listen well as you will hear about Michael Hunt and his journey, his life in Barbados, the army, and his life in England. And I know that you will be inspired and encouraged. Don't he look good for an 80-something-year-old man?
Be precise, 82, to be precise.
82. So thank you, Michael, for being here on the show.
It's a pleasure.
So, as I ask all of my guests, what types of hobbies or likes that you do there in England?
Well, right now, I spend most of my time writing. As you can see, the book you just held up, that was the first one. I've got part 2 of that with the publishers, and I'm working on a novel. That's what I do. Basically, it's 6 hours a day. I get up in the morning, and the first thing my bed is just there. The first thing I get over here is on. And what have I thought at night? I try to put down on the paper.
Okay, so you heard him. His hobby is just writing. And when you have that gift of writing, there's nothing that can stop you from writing. Because as I'm author myself, writing is your life, you can say.
It's like a graduation of the things you learn or the things you imagine, because there's so much input. There's visual, there's song, and then there's something that comes from within yourself. And that could be a child of, I don't know, 10 years. That's 10 years experience. That's a lot. Or then it could be a whole lifespan, like me, 82 years.
We have heard about your hobby, which is writing. Can you explain your life in Barbados? So that will be, you say you were born in 1941. I read that in your book. And how was it in 1941 to 1960 when you leave Barbados? So how was the 40s and the 50s?
Very bad, very terrible, very, very terrible. I think Barbados got left behind during the war years, and there was nothing going on, absolute nothing. I was born with a sort of single mother. She was young, and then she saw her chances, and she married and went away, and it left me to run feral. I was just a feral kid. Nobody was looking after me. I ran away from school, and they didn't come after me. I still think every time I go back, they say, Mr. Hunt, you're back. But yeah, nobody looked after me, so I ran with the wild boys, basically. I ran with the wild boys, and I hang out with them. I had no place to go. Nobody would miss me. So life was really tough. And I got in trouble with the police. The police arrested me. The police beat me. And then I went to court, and the magistrate there sent me to prison. And who I meet in prison? My grandfather. His job was a 2IC. He was second in command in Grand Dairy Prison. Yeah, the crime I committed, I think I ran with the kids. It was a probation. It wasn't prison, but it sent me away for 6 months or something. Well, I'm still here. Yeah, it was a probation. Running with the crowd. I mean, you see, when the minority is in charge of the majority, things go wrong much more than if you have an equal society. So the whole thing was wrong down there in Barbados. And they had to give an account to their superiors. They had to give an account. So we need arrest, stop him, beat him up, whatever. Need complex. And I said, under these beatings, I said yes to a crime I didn't commit. And the court the case was thrown out of court because I gave the wrong dates. Yeah, you know what I mean? The magistrate said you couldn't because it wasn't broken into. Well, this case is thrown out. The police were so anxious for a confession, I decided to talk. And I said, yeah, and I said yes to everything. and the date, they got the dates wrong and the case returned up. So they got me in some other small crime or something. And yes, I ended up in Glenderry prison for, I don't know, 9 months or something like that. And I met my grandfather. That
Wow.
was and he said, you're so son. I said, yeah, I am. But I'm not here for any, I didn't know I was going to see him. I'm not here for any special privileges, you know. So he was embarrassed. He was more embarrassed than I was. And at the end, my answer, at the end, when I came up, at the end, she says, this tongue is not big enough for you. You better go away. So she gave me the money to go and buy a ticket. So I can say I was beaten by my mother. I was beaten by the police. I was beaten by my school teacher. You know, they all beat me up, whatever, but I'm still here. You know, for whatever reason they had. And that was my episode in Barbados.
Yeah, so your aunt really saved you.
Yeah, I would have been dead by now if she didn't see. She was a wise woman. Couldn't read, but she had a gift that cannot be bought or even taught. It's something you just have by surviving. Yeah. And here I am now all these years. Like I said, I leave at 19. I'm now 82, so you can't do the arithmetic to see how many years.
Yeah. Can you explain why you were not able to read?
It's dyslexia. I'm dyslexia. Words jump around the pages to me. And instead of the teacher, maybe they didn't know about it at the time, but that's no excuse because it was discovered a long time ago. But we didn't have the freedom of the internet. You're out to go and buy an expensive book to know about it. The school should have had books. So, but nobody come and say, well, you know, I could not read. It was sad. It was sad. I can laugh at it now, but it was sad. And the teachers were lowly paid, I think. And we didn't get first class teachers. I think all of them went off to war. And they just beat you. Stretch out your hand. Bend down, let me get the rein of your posterior. What for? Talk to the child. You know, talk to see what's happening. So one day I turn up at school and I say, I'm not going in there. And I went into the park and threw bread at the alligator that was there, something like that. I was a man. That day I became a man when I said, I am not going in there. But there was no father that I could have complained to and no mother. See, my mother had gone off and like I said, it was feral. But I'm not blaming. I don't blame people. Things happen and you just got to duck and dive. I did what I could do, what I had to do with that gift from my aunt. She said, boy, this place is not good enough for you. You know, and then I learned myself, who did I learn? My father. Well, he was surprised I was a man. And I live in Chapel Market, Market here in London. And he was surprised that, now this was the second time I met him. I'm 19 years, second time I meet him. And now he wants to give me the hugs and everything. My boy, you know, give me all this rubbish, my boy, but took me in the pub with my son. And I had nothing. He had nothing to do with me. Nothing at all. Man didn't know me. We were like strangers. And I had to end up burying him. That was a turn up for the books. So then I lived with him and I said I couldn't live here because he had restrictions.
Your aunt gave you the money to go to England.
That's right, yeah.
You're 19. You're still a child. A child, but you were forced to be a man.
That's how I had to grow up fast, yeah.
Yeah, so then you landed in England. What was the feeling first when you went in England, being in the airport, knowing that
No. I didn't flew. I sailed.
Oh, that is, wow. All right, so how was it sailing and landing in England, thousands of miles away from home?
Yeah. It was exciting. It was exciting because on the ship I sail on, that was his last voyage. Voyage. And yes, I landed at Southampton, big place. You see them on the television and everything, but this was like a cathedral space it was. And then I caught a train into London. My first train ride, I saw train tracks in Barbados, but they were taken away for the War Office. And so this was my first train tracks there again. And this time there was trains on them. I looked out of the window and I got coal in my eye. The trains were run with fed by coal and boiling water. Oh, okay. You look out and the train going on, they look out and the sparks, the hot sparks hit me in my eye. Not wise. But anyhow, there aren't many trains these days. They're all electric or diesel. And then I arrive at Waterloo Station. Marvelous, big station. And there was my father. I didn't even recognize him, but he recognized me from clothes I was wearing, I think. And then they took me to his place. So we never got home. We never had that father-son relationship. So when I came in, there was signs, and this was in 1960 and right into the 70s. There were signs, no black, no Irish, no dogs on doors, and that was their sort of segregation popping out. But you can't blame them. They did not know. The politicians keep it for themselves. And we didn't have the amount of communication outlets we have now. For instance, like a telephone. To get a telephone, you had to go and ask the priest or the magistrate to put his name onto it. Today, you can walk into a store and pick up a mobile phone without many questions asked. So you got to see how the difference was. There were not everybody had telephones, and they had a system. When I was looking for a place to live, I walk around with a lot of pennies in my hand, but you had to put pennies in the machine, blank, and they run it pretty fast. And then when you get there to the house, they'll say, oh, sorry, it's gone. That was a ploy that people did for you when you were in the 60s. I don't know what it is now because I don't have to look for a place. I managed to have a flat here in London, East London, and the price has shot up. And that was the end of that episode. I just ran off to the army. I went to fill in the forms. And next thing I know, they sent me a traveling ticket. I had to buy a razor and everything. I had to get myself ready. And I arrived in Aldershot, cool and windy, and that's it. From then on, I was a man. I didn't go back.
Okay. So the father figure that a lot of young men are missing these days. You went through it, but it did not break you.
No.
Right now, you are a husband and you're a father, and you're a grandfather.
Grandfather, yeah. I got
so it did not break you.
That did not break me, no. I thrive on it. My years in the army, you have to defend for yourself, you see. You have to learn to make your beds. You have to learn to do everything. You have to keep your space clean. I must admit, I've gone out of that because my space is not so clean. But that's me. I have myself to answer to. Nobody else. I'm not sure. But you have to be independent, and you have to look after the person behind you and the person. No, you look after the person in front of you, and somebody looks after behind you. I learned, and I jumped out of airplanes, and I surpassed my own expectations because everybody had written me off. And I like it when people write me off, and I still here. Everybody written me off, even my school teachers, and that bit was exciting. And also learning as well, gaining confidence and learning to survive for yourself. Still here.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about your army. Firstly, why did you feel or it came into your mind to join the army, especially the Queen's Army?
Watching too many Hollywood movies.
Oh.
I grew up on the Hollywood movies in the cinemas down in Bridgetown. Saturday mornings on everything. And you saw movies, okay, now I know I was acting in Hollywood and everything. But you saw movies and they all had stories. Like one of my favorites is Back to Bataan, and you learn from it. Reverse the obvious. If you have a puzzle and you cannot fix it, reverse the obvious. You with me?
Okay.
Reverse the obvious. And things like that. But you got to take out what you want and just forget the rest as garbage and entertainment. Some of it is facts. Mingle with entertainment, which I call friction, a touch of fiction and a touch of fact. And you have to learn. You cannot go to the cinema and believe everything that they're giving you. It's true. Even television, you cannot believe everything. You have to pick out what you want and make your own fruit salad from it. Because they are earning money and they want to get their audience, and it's a fruit salad. You got to take out what you want. There you go.
So, film encourage you to join the army. So now, when you joined the army, was it anything like you saw on the TV.
No, 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 no. There's a process you have to go through. You have to do the squad, about, I don't know, 22 total strangers coming together, young men coming together and forming as a team. That is the end process of these people coming together, different backgrounds, different speaking, different things and everything. And then they mingle. And when you say squad, right, everybody goes right. That is what you train them to do. And that is you mingle. First, like I said, you get these strangers and you make them into a body, looking after each other. And that was important. I didn't get that in school. But then I got it with these strange men from different parts, and they all had different accents, and they all had their prejudice and everything. But you mingle.
Yeah, and this is a time of a lot of separating the races,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and a lot of looking down on each other, because
yeah.
this was in the 60s, 70s,
That's
and
right.
we know as that people know that those years were not easy.
But they were bad years.
But
They were bad years.
like now is still not easy, but
Still not easy, but it's
especially,
getting better. It's getting better. You
yeah.
see, we have no representation. And in Barbados, you could think about Grant. Is it Grant? Grantley Adams. But he wasn't a
Mhm.
prime minister, but it was gone by the guy in the government house. And I'm glad they kicked him out. Like, he wore that big hat and everything. And the thing about people dress up to make them look bigger than they are. Everybody, every nation does it. The Indians did it with the big feathers. The Zulus did it, with the big. And if you put things around the arm, and the modern army has stripes. It wasn't until we see that thing where the rank was discovered by the color of a sleeve, which is different. But they all have ranks on their hands. You see them on register. And like I said, the Indians in their great big feather, or the guards in their great big beer helmets. They're now synthetic, but they used to be beers. See, if I imagine the Busby, imagine killing black bears just to get the skin to make it. Maybe you get 3 bears out of an animal skin. Anyhow, that's all gone. So yeah, you just dress up. You can see the rank you are, and like I said, that Star Trek brought up rank by a whole sleeve. A whole sleeve was covered,
Okay.
and the color was different instead of just the 3 marks here. And I end up a corporal. In the army. That was pretty good, I think.
Okay. So, your time in the army, we know that you're going to be in dangerous situation.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
but at any time were you close to dying or things? So can you share with us a little of those terrible times?
Yes, 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 yes. That badge I wear in there, it say I'm a veteran. I say I'm a veteran. It means I did the distance and I'm still here. But yes, I was in up country. They call it up country. And we had all our lights out, and I kept my lights on reading a letter. And somebody threw a mortar in at me or something. It deafened me. So in the morning, the shooting went down. Somebody went and they found blood. They didn't find a body, but we were being shot at that night. This is in the Yemen, and yeah, you're there. You take the money, and you gotta pay for it. There's no sense you're gonna come out the same way you went in. But yes, I did see fatalities, and I was willing to tell the truth. I was willing because that's what I was taking the money for. Other people thought it was an easy ride, but sometimes it's an easy ride. But when war comes, you just have to buckle down. And this was the time the British was giving up the empire. It was too expensive to keep. So we were literally going and looking after places. So I spent 2 years in Bahrain. 2 years. And then I went on down to Africa. I flew to Mombasa. And they were worse than the people in Barbados, from what I gather. But that was it. This was all people under the belief of an empire, a greater person was looking after you. But they were skinning you. They were taking money from you. You know.
Wow. And you hear about of these stories and
Yeah.
things, and you can read them, but a lot of us are not taught this in schools. And
That's right.
you should be
Mm.
reading and discussing this. And we have a wonderful book that could that can explain a
I'm glad.
lot.
I'm glad. I'm glad. And I'm getting another one coming out. I hope I'll get it. I'll send it to you when it's out. Should be out sometime, but before June.
Oh, that would be wonderful. This is Michael's book.
I'm
This
still here.
is history and personal encounters and how he lived. And I was I finished this book in a day.
Wow,
In
that
a day.
that
It
is
was
good. That is
because
good.
yeah, because you cannot put it down because it flows, it keeps flowing, and you
Yeah,
do
yeah.
not want to put it down. Because I think that I learned and things of Barbados
Uh-huh.
in the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. And it was like, I mean, it is wonderful to talk with older persons so that you will know how Barbados was in,
Yes.
in as we say in Barbados, the olden days,
Golden Day. Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Things that I read in here,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
I was like, wow, I don't think I could deal with it now.
yeah. Well, if you got time about the strike in the 30s, my mother
Yeah.
told me about it. And Granley
Okay.
Adams had just finished his education up here, and somebody who was looking after the West Indies had to call him back. And then the people wanted money. The people up here had no idea what Barbados was like. They never been there. They just wore those cork hats, stupid hats, and they keep putting money up and money up, and the people had nothing. So the workers went out on strike, and there was fighting. And there's a particular saying your grandmother might know it. It says something like the water would run red of people's blood. My mother told me that,
Mhm.
and I looked it up. And yes, you can look it up. You can see the strike of the workers. I think it was the sugarcane workers as well. Just dung tools, and they didn't know what to do. But like I go back to say,
Yeah.
when the minority starts running the majority, you have troubles, big
Yes.
trouble. And Belvin, we the black people could not walk through Belvin at night. I think 6 o'clock was the last
I
time.
heard that. I
Six
heard
o'clock was
about
the
that.
last time. 6 o'clock was the last time you could walk through Belvin, or you had to go right way or come through or something like that. And that, I mean, today the guys going up Belvin like nothing. By the end of the 40s, you couldn't do it. Well, the 50s for me, because born in 41, I was 10
Yeah.
years. And you had to move or you had to go. Oh. And that is what prejudice is all about. But prejudice comes from fear.
Mhm.
Fear. If you don't treat the people right, then you have to live in fear. I'm putting more into the second book because I'm wiser.
And you can see he is very passionate about researching and
Yeah.
writing. And when did you know that you could write?
Well, I'm a dreamer. So I dream
Mhm.
and I wake up in the morning and I say, yeah, well, and things come into the head and they just disappear when you wake up as well. So then I wanted to write this book a long time ago. No, I wanted to write a long time ago. And a drinking friend of mine said, why don't you write about yourself? Um, it's difficult because I cannot spell. See, so I
Mhm.
rely on the camera, and that's why it took me so long. Writing longhand was not a good start. I did try, then I had to put it down, and all of a sudden, then the voice came in, and I was able to dictate. So I
Uh,
dictate. I dictate here. I got my speakers here and my headphones, and I dictate, and then I correct it, and that's how I end up with so far two books and a half one in progress. And that was it. That was the gateway itself. So I wrote about it, and this is before the internet, and it would have cost a lot of money. It was still costs a lot of money today. But then the internet came, and you can self-publish. That is a landmark.
yeah.
You can self. I sent it off to America, pay the money, and they publish it, and it's on Amazon. Never had that kind of market before. Because now wherever you are, I phoned somebody or somebody spoke to me. I say, have you saw the book? She says, I read it. She's incredible. Because when Amazon got this whole world market, can whatever. And that's a big breakthrough. Now anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. I recognize, anybody can do it. You got the keyboard here, which was the typewriter with mechanical parts in it. And the chip. The chip was a big breakthrough as well. We can, here you are, you're in Barbados, 6,000 miles away, a different time zone, and I can see you large as life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
incredible. Huh? That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. That we got to thank the Lord, for all this technology.
Yeah.
And the technology came after World War II. This is why now we can see what's going on over the world. But we don't need another war.
The only thing is just to hold on to the Lord, and we at the end there will be one war that will end all wars. So when you are writing, why did you write your book like in this way? Why did you add in the history with your story of your life? Why you I like the way you wrote it, but why did you think about writing it like this way?
It is important so people can use the tool. You can then look at the way, what was he telling lies? Did he making this up? You can look at it if you got a mobile phone or computer. That's why it's important. If you're telling the facts, you cannot change the facts. You've got to say what is there. This is not fiction. You've got to say what is there, the facts. And because now it's so easy, you can cross-reference the facts. So yeah, and the novel I'm writing now is a novel, but it starts with the bus that was blown up in London about 5 years ago. That's where the hero is sitting upstairs of the bus. And all of a sudden, the top is gone and he can see the trees and the birds are flying nervously. That's where he is on the bus. So you see, I'm mixing fact with fiction. But my work that you read is only fact. And I throw in the facts time and time again as I learn them. Throw them in because then people can go look up and, hey, this guy's got something or he hasn't got anything at all.
Yeah, because what I was reading, I said, yeah, this really happened. And it happened in a time with some person that I saw from my eyes, you, Michael, was going through this when these things was happening. And Michael was alive. I was like, this is fact. And it's like, that's why I couldn't put down this book. And it is this is a personal book, but I would really like this book to be in schools.
Oh, yes,
or definitely. Even universities. It's really that good.
The boy came good. A bad start, but he came good in the end.
Yeah. So then now you leave the army.
Yeah.
Why did you leave the army after only 6 years?
I signed on, I think, for 12 with an option of 6. And I had my 6. I had, as James Bond would say, I've had my 6. So that was it for me now to go and find my way outside. But I had no friends outside. And at the weekends, I used to go back to Aldershot and, drink with the boys. And I stay in the camp. And then Monday, I came back to London looking for work or working. And one weekend, I went to them. I went to Aldershot, where we were based in Hampshire. And they had gone. They had got posted. Well, there was. And it was like, I don't know if it was a reborn or if I was stripped, but something happened. And when I got on that train in the Monday morning, I knew I had to find another life. Because your company then is then, and you try to hang on, but if it's not there, you cannot hang on. So I then had to leave that, and I went in and worked in. I fed the Queen. I fed the Queen in 1960 because I trained as a chef. And in 1977, the year of her jubilee, I was one of the chefs who prepared meals for her. That was pretty cool.
Oh, okay. So how was that really? Because in Barbados, the Queen and Barbados. So really, I won't have to go specific with Queen or Barbados. But how was that for you?
Well, that was pretty cool. We sent the palace three recipes, and they sent us back one or whatever. So we did the menus. She came, and it was good. It was really good. So good. After the meal, we have to see the plate. Now, She was a woman who gets invited all the time out, and she just toyed with the food. But she was a very slim woman and probably had to watch her weight all the time, so she couldn't eat everything. And it was just lamb chops, and a sort of sauteed potato baked in cream, very heavy, and a pavlova, I think it was, or something like that. But it was good. It worked off, and the manager keeps sending us wine. It was so good. It was so good. It was an experience. And it got me a lot of jobs afterwards. After that, I lived there. I and went to Scotland, that's right. And then I came back to London and I had to get a job, and I went for an interview. And she said, "What have you done?" And a friend of mine said, "Put it in your CV." Oh, I was reluctant to put it in my CV. Put it in the CV. And the interviewer, she asked me what it was like. Exactly what you're asking me. What was like? Well, you can't say it was blasé. I said, "Build it. I have to build it up." I said, "We did this and we did it. And we did it. We did that." And everybody sat down. There was must have been about, I don't know, 80 people sitting down, all the people from the city, big shops, big chairs and everything sitting down. And it was all right. It went off all right. And like I said, after that, I think I had about 2 interviews. And once I put that in, people were want to know, what was it like? Which I should have kept the menus. I didn't. Otherwise, I would have used one in whatever. But we just say, "Oh, that, by the way, that was just that." It was all right. I'm impressed now. I'm more impressed now than I was then. Because you think, it can happen again. It didn't happen again, you see. So yeah, I'm more impressed that I got that kind of experience and the thing in the kitchen. It's good. It's good.
Okay, so you got to feed the fiend.
Because I can put it on my CV now. They can't take that away from me. I can put it on my CV. You see.
Oh yeah, that is true. That is true.
Yeah, that is true. And I can wear this. I can wear this badge as well. You see. I can wear this badge.
Yeah, but that is what I'm going to leaving Barbados, setting out on your own, joining the army, and you're just trying to be a man, find your own way.
That's right. Yeah.
In all your steps, everything that happened in your life, do you feel that you were alone, that physically you didn't have your family? You didn't have your family, and it was difficult to call back home. So your aunt especially. But did you feel that you had the tenacity to really make it in life?
Oh yeah. I think this is something. It is something that comes. It comes. And sometimes it comes like a balloon, sprinkling fresh ideas on you. Yeah, it's confidence. It's confidence. And the army gave me that confidence. The army, you train in, you go in the bush, you whatever survive, you get back in civilian life, and you're back. And yes, it is that army. I was 19 when I went in the army. I came out at 26. London was swinging. It was full employment. You're not going to see full employment again. I remember walking out of a job one lunchtime or something, and the guy didn't do something, and I said, "I'm out of here. I'm out of here." And I leave. By the next morning, I had a job. I went to the office, and they gave me a job, start there in the morning. The economy was good. But why the economy was so good, the British were still getting goods from all the Commonwealth countries. Like they was getting sugar from the Caribbean, Jamaica, whatever. They was getting lamb from Australia and butter from New Zealand or vice versa. And a pint of beer was 2 shillings and 6 pence. It is now about £4. You can see the difference there in a pint of beer. 2 shillings and 6 pence now is £4. You got to whatever. And a lot of food was coming in. I don't think the people who grew the food was getting the rightful pay for it. The people who planted it, looked at, nurture it, cut it, push it in a dog, a horse and cart. When I was there, it was a horse and cart. We had to load a horse and cart to take the canes to the plant, to take the canes to the bell. I passed by the bell the other day. And it wasn't like this when I was a kid. But yeah, we took the cane and it goes, smelled up that sort of molasses and, carbon, that thing to bring it out. But yes, they never got their fair pay and they were paid weekly. And then the men went and get drunk and kill each other and all such things. But you grew up with all of this, fights in the street and everything. I don't know if you still have them because of alcohol. Some people have a low density to alcohol, but it's in the culture. It's in the culture, the alcohol. So you got to manage that. I hit it hard too when I was a young man, but then I had to back off because I went on to an operation the other day. But I'm still here.
And we thank the Lord you are still here with
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
I
yeah.
am so happy that I met Michael. He's he's my in-law, and I love to meet persons who are research heavy and
Yeah.
savvy. As you can hear, he is just dro- dropping gems of history that we do not get in, is is not taught in primary or secondary school.
Yes, and the press wasn't very good because here in London during the war there was 250,000 black soldiers in London. If you look at the films, you'll have to look hard before you can see one of them. And there was men from India, men from Australia, men from East Africa and whatever coming to fight for this bit of real estate that's here. But yeah, if you look at the cinema, Hollywood was America was segregated anyway. Here in England, they were segregated. And one night that it was the black and white troops went out and there was a fight. How can you fight a war with people segregated? It's incredible. But they did it because they had a loss of numbers, but otherwise they couldn't do it. But now we can see it all coming out. It's all coming out of like a regurgitation of what went wrong. And
Did you hear? He loved history,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
have to get this book. I will leave the link to Michael's book. Leave the link in the description and on the show notes on Anchor. So I got about 2 questions more.
Fine.
So in all that you have done, been through triumphs over, and we thank the Lord for that. Now you are 82 and a very young looking 82. So we know we have years before you yet. So
I don't know how long I can go on. I don't know how long.
Val, what do you wish or pray for yourself in 5 years? What do you want to see in 5 years?
I never thought about it. I'd like to play with my grandkids. That's it. If their mother sees this, maybe she'll allow me to play with them. But that's it. That's it. I'm good. I'm living a good life. I don't hang around in pubs anymore. I don't take alcohol as a prop. I am, and I'm up like I said. Some mornings 4:30. I'm here working with a cup of tea. If I can remember what I thought before getting to sleep or waking up. I got my television there. I live in this 3-bedroom flat, but I'm mainly in here. Nearly everything is in this room. I got a lot of books over there, and yeah, I get up and I read, and got my mobile phone, and I got about 3 computers down here. No, life is good. Life is good. You gotta thank the Lord for the good luck because you've been. I can say I've been blessed. I just spent 4 weeks in Barbados, a Caribbean holiday. To a lot of people, that is fantasy, really. You get into an airplane and you land in Barbados, and some welcome you home and some say, "Well, where you come from? Canada, America?" But that's that's the life I'm living at the moment.
Okay, that that sounds good. That's very good. You are just living one day at a time, and
Yeah,
and years don't bother you. You're just living.
yeah, I just living. I get up the stairs. I ran up the stairs. But just before you came on, the bell went, and I didn't want it to go when you were here. I ran on the stairs and came back up, and 5 minutes later, you were on here. So that was a bit of timing. Yeah, I ran on the stairs.
Okay, that's good. So then your last question would be, what legacy do Michael Hunt want to leave for your family and the world?
Well, I think when I finish this novel, that would be it. Because once you've written a book, it's there nearly till whatever, or nearly all libraries have a copy of your book. You might go back and say, "My God, the guy did live." Yeah, this book, getting these characters together and putting them down in a readable sense, I think that will be it. I'm ready. I'll be ready to go home. Be ready. I'll be ready.
Oh,
If I make 85, I'll be good. But I don't intend to give up yet. I intend to continue working and doing my shopping, doing my cooking, whatever. I don't intend to give up. Not just yet. That's the answer. Without planning, you didn't tell me about that. So that would be the legacy. Hunt written a book, few books. Read them and go along with them through life. Yeah,
and that
yeah,
sounds so good. I can't
yeah,
wait to
yeah,
read
yeah,
some
yeah,
more of your work.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
it is
Hold
F
on, hold
A.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
Mhm.
Have you seen this book?
Okay, no, I never saw that.
It's very good. It's written by Alison Yates. It's Beyond Barbados, and it tells you how the place changed from what it is to what it is. If you can get it,
We need all these books in our schools, especially so that we don't forget
that's right. There
how
were no books in my school.
far
There were no books. Yeah, there was no books in my school.
Barbados has come,
Yeah.
and it was good to have their books.
Yeah, the
So,
book.
Michael, we have gotten to the end of the show. I'm so happy that I get to talk with you,
Yeah.
hear about your life and how you live in Barbados and how you are living in England from age 19. Yes, and he's enjoying and how endured. He endured. Life was not easy, and but he still pursued.
Yeah,
And he is now he retired and he's writing and he's enjoying life. So
yeah.
thank you very much. This will be Uncle Michael for me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry we
Uh,
didn't see it one win, but it's good. Yeah. You're still there, and it's
yeah,
impressive, very
don't
impressive.
worry. You will back and you will be back in Barbados. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will interview you for your next book.
Okay, all right. Wait, hold on. Then we keep that at a date. Then we keep that. All right, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I
Right.
mean.
So I thank you. So thank you for being on Steps to Lead podcast.
Huh?
And to you, viewers and listeners,
Yeah.
again, get Michael's Hunt book and you're going to enjoy it, even if you're in Barbados or not. Thank you for viewing and
Mm.
listening. Remember, you too can be brave, be bold, and you can take your steps to lead. Bye bye.
Bye bye then. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Enjoy. It was a joy talking to you.